Welcome to a special episode of the Birdie Golf Club podcast. This week, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the characters that makes the game special. I'm going to run this as a series throughout the podcast, and I hope you enjoy it. And it's going to be called the BGC Biopics. First on our list, the charismatic and quite often heartbreaking character, Tommy Fleetwood.
That is a spectacular golf shot from Tommy Fleetwood.
So how about this for a Fleetwood whack?
He would. By Jove, he would. Tommy Fleetwood keeps things chugging along.
Let us first draw the scene. Picture Southport, Merseyside, an iconic coastal town in northwest England. It's January 19th, 1991, when Thomas Paul Fleetwood enters the world, a place steeped in golfing tradition and bracing sea breezes. From his earliest years, golf was in his blood. By age 5, he was among the juniors at Sefton Juniors, mimicking swings on municipal grass. Soon, he and his father, Pete Fleetwood, began a mischievous routine, slipping onto Royal Birkdale, one of golf's most revered links courses, usually reserved for members and tournament players. It wasn't just access, it was inspiration. Those early rounds on Birkdale whispered to him of possibility. Norman Marshall, his first coach, later reflected on young Tommy's emergence. At 6, he honed drills with razor-sharp focus. In one challenge, Norman set 25 mid-range shots. Tommy landed an astonishing 21 on target. By age 12, he registered his first hole-in-one at Formby Hall's 16th hole, becoming junior champion by 2003 and revelling in that achievement. Formby Hall would remain a defining place in his story. In 2019, he chose it as the site for the Tommy Fleetwood Academy, passing back his knowledge to the next generation under the guidance of Norman Marshall. But in 2003, all that lay ahead were dreams and the azure skies above a modest junior golf course. By age 15, Tommy's name was whispered about junior tournaments across Lancashire, not for showmanship, but for an astonishing swing and nerves of steel. His coached repetition, from punch shot drills to smooth, compact follow-throughs, let him shine under pressure. To this day, experts call his swing one of the finest in modern golf. It wasn't long before amateur championships beckoned. In 2008, at 17, Tommy took second place in the amateur championship, a high-level proving ground that demanded equal parts skill and heart. He'd followed that runner-up finish with a string of triumphs. The 2009 Scottish Amateur Stroke Play title, adding to his achievements and carving his name into national record books. By 2010, his amateur career reached blazing heights. That spring, he clinched the English Amateur, the first major national championship of his career. And he didn't stop there. Victories in NSW Amateur, Spanish Amateur, and European Amateur followed, while securing runner-up spots in those same events demonstrated his dominance. Backed by those performances, Fleetwood ascended to world number 3 in the R&A rankings and topped the Scratch Players Amateur rankings. At the Walker Cup in 2009, a biennial contest showcasing the best amateurs from Great Britain and Ireland against the US, Tommy played a pivotal role. In foursomes, he defeated Peter Uihlein 2-1. On Sunday singles, he added a critical point, helping his team to 16.5 to 9.5 victory. It was a statement moment, ready for the next level. And then, July 2010. On the Challenge Tour, Europe's proving ground, Tommy finished runner-up at the English Challenge, narrowly missing his first professional breakthrough. A few weeks later, having just secured the English amateur title, he faced a life-defining choice. At 19, he turned professional. It was the right time. His swing was sharp, his confidence high, and the world was waiting. His pro debut came in August 2010 at the Czech Open. He made the cut and tied 67th. Not dramatic, but telling. He belonged on that stage. Within a year, he began collecting trophies. A 2011 win on the PGA Europro Tour at Formby Hall, a symbolic return to his roots, and later, victory in the Kazakhstan Open, which secured his place on the European Tour for 2012. Think back to those early rounds with his father, dodging officials at Birkdale, driven by curiosity and passion. Recall a boy hammering drill targets in morning chill, guided by a mentor who believed deeply in him. Recognise the grit that endured runner-up finishes and the self-belief needed to go pro. These are the hallmarks of Fleetwood's character. Humble, yet fiercely competitive. Precise, but calm under noise and breeze. His story, rooted in community and thoughtfulness, reflects something rare among elite athletes. He didn't rely on luxury academies or early fame. Instead, he emerged from hallmarkers, regional tournaments, and a municipal course that taught hard work. It's a story of form and substance, discipline shaped by place, people, and a simple but profound love for the game. In a moment, we will walk alongside Tommy in his first steps as a professional. We'll witness how the Challenge Tour win paved his way forward, how early European Tour struggles tested his resolve, and how he claimed a breakthrough victory at the 2013 Johnny Walker Championship at Gleneagles. And we'll begin forging that bond between Tommy and his caddy, Ian Finnis, a connection that would become vital in years to come.
It's all about you, that's why. It's not all about Tommy though, is it? Tommy thinks everything's about him.
When we last left Tommy Fleetwood, he had just turned professional. A boy from Southport, climbing the ranks with his clubs and quiet confidence. By 2011, he had earned his European Tour card. But as any golfer will tell you, earning a spot is one thing. Staying there is something else entirely. The year was 2012. Tommy's first full season on the European Tour was a test of endurance. The courses were longer, the field was deeper, the spotlight brighter. That year he played 26 events and made 15 cuts. A solid, if not spectacular, rookie year. His best finish, tied for 13th at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. It wasn't enough to secure his card automatically. He finished 109th in the race to Dubai, just inside the top 110 who retained playing rights. Scraping through the cut line taught Tommy one thing. Survival required adaptation. For 18 months, Tommy played and learned. He travelled constantly from Asia to Africa, teeing up against players with far more experience. But golf, as they say, rewards patience. In August 2013, at the Johnny Walker Championship at Gleneagles, he found his moment. After 4 tightly contested rounds, Tommy found himself in a sudden death playoff against Scotland's Stephen Gallagher and Argentina's Ricardo Gonzalez. The playoff was short but tense. On the first extra hole, a par secured it for Tommy. He had done it. At just 22 years old, he was a European Tour winner. The win didn't just bring a trophy, it brought status, exemptions, confidence. In the post-win interview, he looked almost bemused, but those close to him knew this was only the beginning. What followed next were years of quiet toil. 2014 and 2015 were seasons of steadiness rather than stardom. He finished 19th and 49th in the race to Dubai, respectively. There were glimpses of brilliance, a runner-up finish at the Shenzhen International in China, top 5 finishes in South Africa, but no victories. To the casual fan, Tommy was consistent, but to those watching closely, it was clear he had more in him. Off the course, his life was shifting. In 2015, he began working more closely with Ian Finnis, his childhood friend and now caddy. That partnership, rooted in trust and shared history, would prove essential. Then came 2016, and with it, uncertainty. That year, Tommy's game dipped. He missed 8 cuts, fell to 99th in the race to Dubai, and dropped outside the world's top 150. He wasn't injured, he wasn't lacking effort, but golf has a way of unravelling even the best. His swing wasn't cooperating, and his self-belief was tested. That summer, he parted ways with longtime coach Alan Thompson. It wasn't easy. Thompson had been by his side for 17 years, but Tommy knew he needed a reboot. He turned to renowned coach Pete Cowan. Known for working with the likes of Henrik Stenson and Graham McDowell, Cowan helped Tommy simplify things. Together, they rebuilt from the ground up. That decision to tear down and restart would soon pay off in spectacular fashion. If 2016 was the fall, then 2017 was the rise. Fleetwood came roaring into form in January at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. On the back nine of the final day, he surged past Dustin Johnson and Martin Kaymer, carding a closing 67. He won by a single stroke. It had been over 3 years since his last victory, and suddenly, Fleetwood fever returned. That year he was electric. He finished 4th at the US Open, played his way into the WGC events, and won the Open de France in July. Perhaps most impressively, he topped the 2017 race to Dubai, beating out Justin Rose by a razor-thin margin. He was no longer just promising. He was one of the best golfers in the world. 2018 brought something even bigger than golf: fatherhood. Tommy and his wife Claire welcomed their son, Franklin. That June, Tommy stepped out onto the US Open stage at Shinnecock Hills and produced magic. A final round 63, tying the lowest round in US Open history. He narrowly missed forcing a playoff, but the performance was legendary. The putt on 18, a slippery 8-footer, just grazed the right edge. "I honestly thought I made it," he said after, "but I'm proud. It was one of those rounds you dream of." In that moment, Tommy wasn't just competing with the best. He was matching them. Then came Paris, the 2018 Ryder Cup. Tommy, a rookie, paired with the flamboyant Francesco Molinari in an inspired partnership dubbed Mollywood. Together they won 4 matches in a row. The duo became instant icons, laughing, high-fiving, playing fearless golf. Tommy's passion was infectious, his fist pumps fierce, his putting deadly. Europe won in a landslide. Tommy was a central figure. It was the stuff of dreams. Later that year, he was awarded the Seve Ballesteros Award for Player of the Year. From Southport to Ryder Cup hero. What a journey it had been. By 2019, Tommy Fleetwood was no longer a rising star. He was a household name in the golf world. Charismatic, composed, and consistent. He had evolved into one of the sport's most admired players. But for all his flair, one thing still eluded him: a major championship. The 2019 Open Championship was a moment made for history. For the first time in nearly 70 years, the Open returned to Northern Ireland. Royal Portrush was brimming with energy. Tommy arrived in form. From the opening rounds, he looked poised. Calm in the wind, precise with the irons, patient on the greens. His Sunday pairing? Shane Lowry. The Irishman was the people's favourite. But Tommy, just 4 shots back, was right in the mix. The final round played in brutal conditions. Rain lashed down, wind whipped across the links. Lowry held firm. Fleetwood, chasing, faltered slightly with a double bogey on the 14th. He finished runner-up. Afterward, he was gracious as always. But that second-place finish cemented his place as a major contender. Not just once, but consistently. If heartbreak defined July, redemption came in November. At the Nedbank Golf Challenge in South Africa, Tommy produced one of the most electric finishes of his career. Trailing by 6 shots entering the final round, he rattled off 3 eagles and a birdie over the back 9 to force a playoff with Sweden's Marcus Kinhult. In sudden death, Fleetwood's putter stayed hot. A par sealed victory, and a $2.5 million payday, one of the largest of his career. "I just let go," he said. "When you stop thinking about what could go wrong, golf becomes an art." As the world tilted on its axis during the COVID-19 pandemic, so too did the rhythms of professional golf. For Tommy, the next few years were defined by stability without silverware. He made cuts, he logged top 10s, he remained in the world's top 30. But the wins, the moments he craved most, stayed just out of reach. In 2020, he contended again at the US Open, but finished T29. The PGA Championship, the Masters, the big events, he showed flashes, but didn't quite break through. Some wondered, had he peaked? Tommy didn't flinch. He kept grinding, training, travelling, trusting the process. In 2021, the Ryder Cup returned. Europe, defending their Paris crown, faced a daunting American squad at Whistling Straits. This time, things didn't go to plan. The US won 19-9, their largest margin of victory in the modern era. Tommy, paired again with old partners and new faces, didn't recapture the magic of Mollywood. It was humbling, but it only reinforced a truth Fleetwood lived by. Team golf, at its best or worst, binds players in a unique brotherhood. Away from the glare of tournaments, Tommy's personal life bloomed. His wife, Claire, remained his manager, a rare dynamic in professional sport. Together they raised Frankie while navigating global tours, sponsorships, and parenting on the road. Fleetwood's reputation grew not just for his swing, but for his integrity. Fans loved his humility. Fellow players praised his sportsmanship. Media outlets called him the everyman elite golfer. He gave interviews with warmth, signed autographs patiently. In an era of polished personas, Tommy felt real. In 2022, the European Tour rebranded as the DP World Tour, a new era of globalized, big-money golf. Fleetwood, now a veteran, embraced the change. He made headlines with a win at the Nedbank Challenge. Yes, again. And solid showings across the season. He also served as a mentor to younger European players, helping bridge the generational gap on tour. One thing became clear. Tommy Fleetwood was no longer just chasing greatness. He was quietly becoming part of the fabric of golf itself. As 2023 dawned, professional golf was shifting under Tommy's feet. Between the global surge of new tours, economic shake-ups, and evolving sponsorship landscapes, Fleetwood found himself at a crossroads. One defined not just by his swing, but by the choices he'd make off the course. By early 2023, the emergence of new rival competitions had begun to reshape professional golf's ecosystem. The European Tour's long-standing stability was under pressure, not least from the reportedly deep pockets of LIV Golf and the shifting alliances it prompted. For players like Tommy, grounded in tradition but ambitious for progress, the landscape tested allegiances. Should he stay loyal to the DP World Tour? Could he afford to stay? Fleetwood chose consistency. He reaffirmed his commitment to Europe's tour and the majors, a stance that resonated across locker rooms and golf commentators. His message? I want to be around the greatest moments in golf, he said. Majors, Ryder Cup, and global venues that inspired him as a boy. On course, it was a mixed year. He began strong, tying for fifth at the Dubai Desert Classic and contending in Monte Carlo. But weeks later, at the Scottish Open, typical Tommy toughness showed. Trailing by 4 strokes mid-round, he orchestrated a charge, but ultimately finished third. It wasn't a win, but it was vintage Fleetwood grit. Then came the rocket. At the 2023 Nedbank Challenge, he found the winner's circle again. His third triumph in Sun City, South Africa. That victory in front of his mother and father felt deeply personal. He was athletic, aggressive, yet calm. Exactly the player he'd become. Yet, the majors remained a hurdle. In the US Open and PGA Championship, he again found himself on the scoreboard, but not among the winners. The longing for that elusive major grew louder. Paris, 2024. More than any other event, the Olympic Games exemplified Fleetwood's identity. Resilient, composed, connected to his roots. In the individual men's golf competition at Le Golf National, he surged to the silver medal spot, finishing just 1 spot behind Scotty Scheffler. A final round 66 etched his name onto the Olympic podium. He graciously accepted silver, but it felt like gold in his eyes. Yet days later at the Masters, he faced heartbreak. A Sunday's stumble dropped him to a T6 finish. It was brilliant golf, and yet again, no green jacket. Fast forward to June 2025, this past weekend, the Travellers' Championship. Fleetwood carried a three-shot lead into the final round and looked poised to taste PGA Tour victory. But the closing holes humbled him. Bogeys at 16 and 18 handed victory to Keegan Bradley. In post-round interviews, he didn't mask his emotion. Fleetwood's brand is built on relatability. Modest, approachable, close to his roots. That's why fans trust him. That's why his near misses draw more sympathy than cynicism. So where does that leave us in 2025? Tommy is inside the world's top 15. His Ryder Cup redemption in Rome looms. Another Olympic cycle with freshwater glints of Paris. Major glory? It feels near. Some athletes are defined by the number of trophies in their cabinets. Others, like Tommy Fleetwood, are remembered for something more elusive, yet enduring. Legacy. Not just built in victory, but shaped through near misses, character under pressure, and the grace shown when the game doesn't go your way. As we close our journey through Tommy's life and career, we ask, what defines greatness? And how, perhaps, Fleetwood's story helps us answer that. Tommy's career has been defined by resilience. In every second-place finish, in every heartbreaking putt that lipped out on 18, he's returned, composed, committed, still chasing not just for himself, but for the fans who've walked every step with him. He's never been the loudest, never one to throw clubs or cause controversy. His personality reflects his game. Steady, sharp, and quietly brilliant. In an era of viral highlight reels and social media heat, Tommy stands apart. A reminder that sport's true power lies in humility and humanity. Fleetwood embodies a rare blend in sport. A working-class lad from Southport who made it big, yet stayed grounded. He's dined with royals and trained in municipal bunkers. He's had his name in Rolex campaigns and still turns up to local kids' golf clinics. As the media spotlight intensified through the 2020s, Tommy's public persona remained constant. His relationship with fans is real. People see themselves in him. A guy who works hard, rides setbacks with dignity, and celebrates the little wins just as much as the big ones. And for brands, that's gold dust. But for golf, it's even more. Tommy's voice now carries weight on matters of equity in the game, youth access, mental health, and the role of social media in shaping athlete pressure. Fleetwood speaks candidly. He's publicly supported player unions, advocated for wellness facilities on tour, and has used his platform to talk about mental health, not as weaknesses, but as part of elite performance. Young golfers look to him not just for technique, but for how to carry yourself in the lonely grind of professional sport. As his academy expands across the UK, his influence stretches far beyond leaderboards. As of right now, he's had 4 top 5 finishes in major championships. Critics say he's missing that killer instinct. Fans argue he's simply due one. And Tommy? Well, he just keeps swinging. In truth, if he never wins a major, his legacy is already secure. But it would be fitting, wouldn't it? A claret jug in his hands, maybe on a Sunday at Royal Birkdale. Hometown fairy tale. Golf's poetry. And if it doesn't happen, well, maybe Fleetwood's greatness lies precisely in that chase. In the unshakable optimism that tomorrow's round could be the one. Tommy once joked that golf is just a walk spoiled by occasional chaos. but chaos never defined him. He's been the eye in the storm, calm under pressure. He's proven that being consistently excellent, year in, year out, takes a different kind of courage. He may not have the glittering trophy haul of some peers, but he has something else. The respect of a sport, the admiration of fans, and the love of those closest to him. So, here's to the man with the flowing hair and flowing swing. To fairways chased under grey Merseyside skies and Augusta suns. To the boy from Southport who turned heartbreak into humility and came back swinging. His story isn't over, not by a long shot. But even now, we can say with certainty, Tommy Fleetwood isn't just one of golf's finest players. He's one of its finest people. Thank you so much for joining me for this biographical journey through the life of Tommy Fleetwood. If you've enjoyed the start of this series and if you've got any comments on how I could improve it, then please let me know. I'm all ears. And as always, if you're enjoying Birdie Golf Club podcasts, then make sure to follow, leave a 5-star review, and share with your friends. I'll see you on the next podcast.